Hey folks, I want to welcome you back. This is Dave with Wyoming Old Iron, and today we actually have old iron. If you can hear that in the background, we also have a boxer that thinks I should be paying attention to her. Anyway, this is the Wringer head for the 1930s Easy washing machine, and when I say easy, it's E-A-S-Y. They are made in Syracuse, New York. So we've got, this is your shifter pawl. Then this handle screws into that. Now this is what wouldn't work. This is what had the whole thing froze up, is this Wringer head was froze up. It took me, okay, we got that spring, the spring-loaded detent in there. Anyway, this thing was frozen up. Go. There we go. Anyway, it was frozen up just from sitting for God knows how many years. And I had to soak this will shift easier when there's something in there running it. I had to soak this for about 3 weeks in evapo-rust to get it to break loose. So then you have, this is your oiling cap, and it goes in over right there. Also we have this set screw here. Next thing we want to do, we're going to put some fresh grease in here. I don't intend to run this very heavy. There won't be a need for a lot of grease. That should be more than enough. Now the other thing I'm going to do here is something that's totally unnecessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to use RTB on the gasket here. Even though this is grease and not oil, you do oil it up here. So oil is going to run down into this tube a little bit. I'm going to cut it off at an angle on the very small side. Cut it quite far enough down. There we go. Not going to put it on real heavy. I don't want it sticking out. 100 miles. I had already cut these seals quite some time back. Get a ball peen hammer. I think you've seen me do this before. Making sure this is the right screw here. Okay, it is. All right, come over here. Then we're going to put another bead right here on the edge. You might be wondering, although most of you probably aren't if you're watching this, what screws aren't long enough. What the reason for the gasket being proud is, and it's so that I can trim it off after the fact. Again, these gaskets don't have to be perfect, but I don't want the grease leaking out and making a mess and all those good things. Now, you just take our knife here. It's trying to pull out on me. I'm going to let that set up and I'll do the rest later. Scoot this to the side because I want that to set up, and we'll probably cut that gasket tomorrow. So now we have the gearbox and the gearbox cover. But I didn't go in and I didn't paint all this stuff that's going to be covered up because you're never going to see it again anyway, and there's no point in doing it. I mean, they did paint them at the factory, but this is filled with 90 weight. So I want, or 80, in this case 85/90. Again, I just don't want to leak oil when the little bit I'm going to run this. I just don't want it to leak oil. My hope is to someday have enough of these done and have the wherewithal to display them for people. Okay, rear gasket's on. Now, let's see if we can get this. I don't know how well that shows. There's a hole right there, and your drive shaft for the Wringer comes out of that hole. It's not a liquid tight hole, so you don't want to fill this thing up past that hole. So, you know, as you might imagine, specs for these old engines are either hard to find or just non-existent. It's just old engines, old washing machines. Well, I'll learn how to speak English goodly in a minute. And so, you know, they didn't have the fancy lubricants and stuff back then we have today. It's about a 1/4 inch below this hole, and that should be about all we want. Got a towel here. Grab one earlier. There was probably half a quart in this gearbox when I took it apart, and there was probably another half a quart of grease. Oh, wait a minute, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. I'm not ready to put the drive shaft in here. This cover has to be off in order to do it. So what we'll do is we'll let that set up overnight. And we're leaking out of this front drive shaft. We'll have to let it sit up there so we don't leak. So anyway, I guess the last thing we're going to do for tonight is we're going to assemble gearbox on the Wringer head. And you'll notice I painted the letters blue. I thought it just made it look snazzy. It's not factory original that way. So you have this piece here is your drive coupler. It goes down in there like that. Then here, Wringer gearbox going like that. Want to make sure they lined up. I do want to put just a dab of grease on here. You can see where it's chewed up a little bit and worn. It's not going to take a lot, just a little bit to lube it. Again, I'm not going to be using this thing, but just a few times to show people how it works. What have I done here? Okay, so this is not lined up. So let's see, what have I done here? So I wondered about these spacers because I couldn't remember. I should have watched the video when I put this together. These spacers must go at the top. Push comes to shove, I do have a copper version of this machine over there. I'd really prefer not to go chase it down. That makes more sense because it keeps this top roller out of the top of the frame. So if that's the case, tighten her down. Now let's see if she lines up. And this here, this isn't snug, or this isn't, you know, this gets this little bit of grease for lube, so I don't really care about a seal here, and it didn't have one to begin with. That's how it goes. Okay. I just had those spacers upside down. Okay. In case you're wondering, that's the furnace that just kicked on. It's about 25 degrees outside. Okay, for today, I think we're done. I want to do some touch up on that blue. It didn't come out the greatest. So what I think we'll do next time is I'll get the tub in here and we'll put the gearbox back together and put the Wringer shaft on it, and we'll start reassembling the machine. But I need to let this silicone set up, or this RTV set up on the gearbox. I put a little too much in it, and like I said, specs are hard to come by. And then we'll seal that gearbox up. We'll put the drive shaft on it for the Wringer, and we'll start reassembling the tub and the tub covers. Probably can do it in one long video or a couple of shorter ones. It's not a hard thing to do. I am missing one item to finish it yet. I need to get some 5/8 radiator hose. So, and I'll show you when the time comes what that's going to be used for. So, I guess for now, thanks for watching. If you're enjoying it, enjoying to see this washing machine go back together, and enjoying the old iron, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you very much.